Prologue. I had been in a hidden marriage with the best actor for 5 years. He was always surrounded by scandals. Yet he never once wanted to make our relationship public. On a variety show, the others probed me about whether I'd ever been in a relationship. Even he smiled and said, "Amanda, I know plenty of reliable men. Should I introduce one to you?" In my previous life, on this very day, I had lost my temper and taken out our wedding ring. The trending young actress Hiiii had burst into tears and run out. Zach didn't say anything at the time, but afterwards he grew colder and colder toward me. When I had a massive hemorrhage during pregnancy and was rushed into the operating room, he didn't even check on me. He was busy celebrating Celine's birthday at a Michelin-starred restaurant. When thugs hired by Celine destroyed my innocence and I turned to him for help, he merely watched with indifference. It was then I realized, in his eyes, I was nothing more than a shameful ornament, something to be kept in the dark. In this life, I simply smiled and said, "Yes, I have." He's not in the industry. We're getting married at the end of this month. Chapter 1. Gasps erupted all around. No one had expected me to publicly reveal my relationship on the show. Zach's face darkened instantly, the glass in his hand bending out of shape under his grip. He looked like he wanted to say something. But seated beside him, the bright and radiant Celine batted her eyes first. "Wow, Amanda, you've been hiding it so well. If it weren't for losing this round of truth or dare, were you planning to keep it from us forever?" It was a live broadcast, and her words instantly set off waves in the live stream chat. "Amanda's fans must be miserable. Your idols abandoned you for a relationship. Hiiii. Our Celine's the best, focused on her career. Ambitious. No time for men. Why would we be miserable? Amanda's an actress. She wins us over with her acting. She's already taken the grand slam of awards. What's wrong with dating?" Meanwhile, Celine hasn't even made a name for herself yet. Besides, Amanda's always said that when the time comes, she'll find someone. I smiled faintly. I may have hidden it, but I am the rightful wife. In my previous life, I had always thought Celine didn't know about my relationship with Zach. That she, too, had been deceived. But just before my death, Celine had come to flaunt Zach's love for her. And I finally learned she had known all along. Celine's expression shifted, but the other guests didn't notice. Instead, they looked at me with curiosity. "Amanda, who is he? Do you have a photo? A man worthy of Amanda and outside the industry? I'm dying to know." I smiled. "He doesn't like being in the spotlight. I'll introduce him to you another time." Just as I finished, a derisive laugh sounded. Celine raised an eyebrow, her eyes full of provocation. "Amanda, don't tell me this guy doesn't even exist, and you're just making him up. After all, you're not exactly young anymore. If you still don't have someone close to you, it's pretty embarrassing. Isn't that right, Zach?" She blinked at Zach and playfully stuck out her tongue. I clenched my fists, and the next second, I heard Zach cooperate with her perfectly with a short Celine's smile widened in triumph. I felt a sting of self-mockery. A moment ago, I had still been expecting something. How ridiculous. The other guests tried to smooth things over. "Amanda, don't be mad, Celine's just joking. This is Amanda's private life. We shouldn't pry." I was about to speak when a man's voice rang out at the door. "Excuse me, is Amanda here? I'm here to pick her up from work." Chapter 2. Everyone turned toward the voice. A young man stood at the doorway, one hand casually in his pocket. His sleek black hair had a slight wave brushing his forehead, his brow ridge sharp as a carved ridge, his complexion pale yet strikingly handsome. When our eyes met, I froze for a moment. He smiled at me. "Amanda, time to get off work." The live stream exploded. "Holy crap, this guy's hot. Is he Amanda's non-industry boyfriend? No way. I thought Amanda was making it up. Didn't expect her boyfriend to show up to pick her up." I stood from my chair, nodded to everyone. "I'll be heading out first." From the moment I stood, I felt a pair of eyes boring into me. I didn't look back. Just as I was about to step out, Zach's cold voice called after me. "Amanda." I paused, turned to him. "What is it?" His face was grim, his eyes filled with displeasure. Celine curved her lips at me. "Today's my birthday party. Zach's throwing it for me. Are you coming?" I glanced at Zach. He said nothing. No. I withdrew my gaze and walked out. Happy birthday. I have other plans. Chapter 3. That gaze on my back didn't vanish until I sat down in the back seat of the car. I looked at the man beside me and thanked him. Thank you, Junior, Bruno said. No need to be polite, Senior. I was just watching the live stream and happened to be passing by. I smiled faintly, not pressing further. He didn't ask me anything either. Only said, "Where to now? I'll give you a ride." I gave him my home address. We arrived quickly. Just before I got out, Bruno lifted his phone and waved it at me. Add me? I hesitated for a moment. He chuckled softly. Who knows, maybe someday I'll need your help too. Hearing that, I nodded, taking out my phone. All right. After we exchanged contacts, Bruno drove off. I turned and walked into my house. This place was one Zach and I had bought before marriage. It wasn't big, but it carried our shared memories. Back then, whenever I didn't have a work schedule, we'd curl up here together, playing games and binge-watching dramas. After marriage, I never changed homes, but now, Zach rarely came back. Just as I stepped inside, my agent called. Check the trending searches, quick. Chapter 4. Hashtag Zach x Celine, officially announced. What a perfect match. I thought that, having been reborn, I'd be able to face anything with a calm heart. But the short lines on the screen still stabbed at my eyes. Zach, let me introduce my girlfriend, the only one. At Celine. Celine, the days ahead are long. From now on, I'll be walking them with Mr. Zach. Zach and I had dated for 5 years, been married for another 5. I'd waited 10 years for this public announcement, and now, Zach handed it to someone else, so easily. My agent's voice went on. There are rumors online that Celine's been the other woman for someone else, and Zach's stepping in to protect her. It's infuriating, but isn't Celine exactly that? You and Zach have been married for years, and you haven't even, Monica. I cut her off softly and asked, when will the visa be ready? She fell silent. You've decided to quit the industry and go abroad? I nodded. 10 years ago, I had given up my dream for Zach. Now, I would never again let him delay my life. Chapter 5. Zach and I were childhood sweethearts, growing up together. When I was little, my parents died. I became shy and withdrawn, living under someone else's roof, often bullied by the neighborhood kids. Zach would always step in front of me, shielding me and standing up for me. Then, at 15, his parents went bankrupt and jumped to their deaths, leaving him completely alone, saddled with enormous debt. The blow nearly crushed him more than once. He wanted to end it all. I was the one who held him, comforting him. We were each other's light in the darkness, relying on one another to survive. At 18, I received an offer from University A overseas, my lifelong dream school. That day, Zach didn't say a word. He just held my hand, eyes red, standing there the whole night. The next morning, I turned down the acceptance letter and instead accepted a talent scout's invitation to enter the entertainment industry. I wanted to pay off Zach's debts. He was still young. His future was ahead of him. He couldn't be shackled by debt. But the industry wasn't easy. I auditioned and filmed day and night, taking every job I could get. I drank so much at business dinners I vomited blood. Finally, in my 5th year after debut, I became popular from a drama and paid off his family's debt. People around me would ask if it was worth it. At the time, I'd look at Zach, cooking for me every day, staying by my side, and think it was. But now, the alert on my phone cut through my thoughts. It was a call from Zach. I thought for a moment before answering. His voice was cool, quite capable now. Aren't you? Learning to get other men to act with you, trying to piss me off? But you miscalculated. I know your love for me best. I'm not the least bit angry. I stayed silent. Then a familiar female voice came from the background. Come cut the cake for me. Zach replied. Coming. Then he spoke to me again. You know Celine and I have a new drama together. Once it finishes airing, I'll break up with her. Don't overthink it. Tonight, be good and wait at home. I'll bring you your favorite dish. Chapter 6. My thoughts drifted. Zach had entered the entertainment industry after visiting me on set and being noticed by a director. Who invited him to act? At the time, I immediately refused. Zach's dream had been to work in scientific research. If he took on an acting role, he would lose all connection to that path. But I hadn't expected Zach to approach the director in private. Afterwards, he held me, his eyes red, and said, "I don't want you to suffer with me. I want to make a lot of money so your life gets better and better." From that day on, Zach gave up his dream for me and devoted himself to breaking into the entertainment industry. As our schedules got busier, our contact became less and less. When the first scandal about him broke, he took a 5-hour flight overnight to see me, holding me and apologizing, saying it was all a misunderstanding, that he would handle it and I shouldn't overthink. I suggested we make our marriage public. He said it might hurt his career and upset his fans. Now wasn't the right time. But he promised me that I would be his only wife, and the only person by his side. Thinking of his career, I didn't press the issue. Until later, Celine appeared at a banquet. She was targeted for a casting couch deal. While fleeing, she fell into the water, and Zach happened to be there to save her. She seemed like a delicate white flower, pure and innocent, lying drenched in Zach's arms. That night, the two of them shot to the top of the trending charts, with marketing accounts spreading the story wildly. That time, Zach didn't say a single word to me. Chapter 7. When I came back to my senses, Zach's call had already ended. I didn't dwell on it. Instead, I contacted a lawyer to draft a divorce agreement. Before leaving the country, I had to settle everything with Zach. What I didn't expect was that when Zach came home that night, he brought Celine with him. Peeking out from behind Zach, Celine's cheeks were flushed. She ran over to me with a grin. "Tada, Amanda, we packed up the leftovers from my birthday party for you. Hurry and eat them." Zach stood there, looking a little helpless. "Slow down, you're drunk. Be careful not to fall." Then he paused and turned to me. "Celine drank a lot tonight. It's not safe for a girl to go home alone. She'll stay here for the night." "Oh right. Your hangover soup is really good, isn't it? Make her a bowl." I just stood there, my ears buzzing, my hands trembling uncontrollably. So, it wasn't enough that he was cheating, he had to bring her here openly? And ask me to make her hangover soup? A girl? Where's her assistant? Celine never went anywhere without 3 or 4 assistants. How could she be alone? At worst, she could stay in a hotel. Zach frowned. "When did you become so petty?" My voice shook despite myself. "This is my house. Get out." Seeing the redness in my eyes, Zach softened his tone. "All right. I'll call someone to take her home now." He took out his phone to make the call, but the next second, a sharp scream rang out. Celine tumbled down the stairs. Zach's face changed instantly. He threw down his phone and ran to her. He was in a panic, so different from his usual calm. "Celine!" She lay in his arms, eyes closed. Zach's face darkened, his gaze stormy as it locked on me. My heart skipped a beat. I blurted out, "It wasn't me," but the next second, his hand struck my face. "Amanda, are you saying Celine fell on her own just to frame you? She's an actress, you know how much her face matters to her." That slap stunned me. It snuffed out the last flicker of light I'd been holding on to. Zach carried Celine and headed for the door. I stopped him. "Wait." I handed him the divorce papers. "Sign this, or you're not leaving." He glared at me in anger. In the past, whenever we argued, I would cling to him, asking him to buy me something, signing bills to make myself feel better. Now, without even looking at what it was, he signed. Then he strode out with Celine in his arms, out of Zach's sight. Celine curled her lips at me in a smug little smirk. Chapter 8. News of Celine's hospitalization shot to the top of the trending searches. In the photos, she had a bandage wrapped around her forehead, lying weakly on the hospital bed while Zach attended to her with meticulous care. The internet was flooded with posts praising how loving the two of them were. Monica, who had been managing me since my debut, knew the truth about me and Zach better than anyone else. She came to me and started cursing Zach without holding back. "Is your visa ready, sis?" Monica nodded. "You'll have it in 3 days." 3 days was just enough time for me to deal with a few other matters, but I didn't expect that on the 3rd day, another post would explode online. Breaking, Best Actress Amanda caught interfering in Zach-Celine's relationship. Breaking, Amanda's failed attempt to harm Celine. I clicked into the trending topic and saw countless gossip accounts frantically reposting two photos. One was of me coming home last night. The other was of Zach and Celine returning together shortly after. The comments section was in chaos. Comment: WTF. What's going on? Why were all three of them going into the same house? Comment: that be ****H Amanda. My friends in the industry and heard Amanda snuck into the film Emperor's house last night. Celine's injury was her doing. Comment: what would Amanda be doing in the film Emperor's house? Comment: stop making things up. What would she sneak in for? The arguments online were endless. Then, one comment shot straight to the top. Top comment: Amanda never had an outside boyfriend, that was all made up. She's been the film Emperor's dream girl for years. When Zach and Celine made their relationship public, Amanda got jealous, snuck into Zach's house, and pushed Celine down the stairs. I have proof, look at these pictures. Amanda used to be one of his biggest fans. When Zach first entered the industry, he barely had any fans. I had visited him on set and even used a secret account to do dedo work for him and help grow his fanbase. I had done all of that in complete secrecy, no one knew except Zach and me. But now, the pictures posted by this user hit me like a punch to the gut. Hands trembling, I called Zach. It took 5 tries before he finally picked up. Zach, was this you? Those pictures, if they weren't from him. I couldn't think of anyone else. There was silence on the other end. After a long pause, I finally heard him say, "You deserved this." The things you said on that variety show made netizens believe Celine was someone's mistress, hurting her reputation and causing her to suffer online abuse. Our relationship announcement wasn't just for our new drama, it was also to restore her name. To make up for your mistake, I thought you'd repent. But instead, you pushed her down the stairs. His words made me laugh until tears nearly spilled. All for my own good? If she's not a mistress, what is she? A pure and noble saint? Amanda, you're being unreasonable. Zach's angry roar cut me off. What's done is done. I don't want your feud with Celine to worsen. Apologize to her, and I'll have her publicly say she forgives you. Then we'll let this go. Let this go? Easy for him to say. Easy enough that it was as if Zach had never been in the entertainment industry. I lifted my head, holding back my tears, ready to tell him exactly what I thought, when another voice came from the phone. Film Emperor. Celine's awake. She wants to see you. I'm coming. Zach's reply was immediate. When I looked at my phone again, the call had already been disconnected. Chapter 9. Zach hurried toward Celine's hospital room. Halfway there, he seemed to remember something and stopped in his tracks. He turned to his assistant and instructed, "Did you buy that necklace I asked for a while ago? The one Amanda once mentioned she liked?" The assistant nodded. "Send it to her." Zach knew Amanda had her pride. Asking her to bow her head to Celine would definitely make her feel wronged. But wronged or not, mistakes had to be punished. Fortunately, she was easy to coax. In the past, whenever she got angry, all it took was buying her something to make it better. Oh, and wasn't there a matching bracelet? Give that one to Celine. Chapter 10. When Zach's assistant came to deliver the necklace, Monica was showing me a live-streamed interview with Celine. In the video, she was lying on a hospital bed while Zach gently tucked in her blanket. A reporter asked, "Celine, have you seen what's been going around online these past few days? Is it true that Amanda tried to steal Zach from you and, failing that, pushed you down the stairs?" Celine forced a smile. "I don't blame her. After all, Zach is exceptional. There are plenty of women who like him." The reporter, enraged, pressed further. "So you mean it's true? Amanda's behavior is disgusting. How is someone like her fit to be a best actress?" Celine just smiled faintly, saying nothing, looking weary. Then the reporter noticed the bracelet on her wrist and exclaimed, "That bracelet looks familiar. Isn't it the one from the European royal family auction recently? I heard there's a matching necklace." Celine glanced at Zach, and the reporters immediately understood. The film Emperor and Celine's relationship is so solid, no one could ever break them apart. Monica, unable to hold back any longer, cursed loudly at the phone screen. She also kicked out the assistant Zach had sent. My agency wasn't one to be trifled with either. Whenever I wasn't filming, I would come home. So the security cameras at the gate had plenty of photos of me entering and leaving. The company released these through multiple gossip accounts. Post, isn't this Amanda's house? She's seen going in and out often. On the other hand, the film emperor's been spotted here only a handful of times. Post, just because there are 2 photos of 3 people entering the same house doesn't prove Amanda pushed Celine down the stairs. Maybe there's more to the story? Stop jumping to conclusions. At the same time, my agency posted an official clarification. The online sentiment began to shift slightly until Zach personally made a post. Post from Zach, looks like Miss Amanda often sneaks into my house while I'm away to scope the place out. Attached was a photo of a property deed. Chapter 11. In that instant, I felt my blood surge to my head. A roaring filled my ears, and my vision blurred. Before paying off Zach's debts, we had squeezed into a cramped rental together. After clearing the debt, worried he might feel inadequate, I put his name on the deed when I bought this house. At the time, he smiled and told me, "Amanda, don't overthink it. I believe in what we have." But now, what we had was nothing more than a blade he used to stab me, hard. Monica was fuming too. She never thought Zach would go this far. Marriage certificate. Post your marriage certificate. Where is it? Zach took it. He'd been the one keeping it. The day we got our marriage license, Zach had been overjoyed, kissing it several times. He said he wanted to frame both copies and keep them safe. Monica fell silent. After a long moment, she asked softly, "Amanda, were you two really together for 10 years? I gave a bitter smile. Just then, my phone lit up with a message. "Bruno, need help?" Me, thanks. But no. I turned off my phone and handed Monica a USB drive. "Monica, send this out." Chapter 12. That house had surveillance cameras. Zach didn't know. I'm not the kind of person who likes having myself exposed on camera. But after often coming back to an empty home and dealing with harassment from stalkers outside, fear began to creep in, so I had cameras installed. The cameras recorded everything that happened that night. From Zach bringing Celine inside and asking me to make her so-bring soup, to me not even touching Celine, to Celine tumbling down the stairs on her own, and then Zach slapping me immediately afterward. Once the video was released, the entire internet exploded. Comment, "Whoa, wait. Amanda says in the video the house is hers, and Zach doesn't even deny it?" Comment, "But wasn't the property deed in Zach's name?" Comment, "See that? Amanda didn't even touch Celine. How shameless is she?" Comment, "From the footage, she just hit her forehead a little, yet she stayed in the hospital for days, wasting public resources much." Comment, "Mind your own business, our Celine paid for it. She can stay as long as she wants." Comment, "Is Zach really that brainless? Whatever Celine says, he believes? This scumbag's brain might as well be fed to the dogs." Comment, "Dog, disgusting." Comment, "Celine is the film emperor's girlfriend, of course he'll side with her. Honestly, I think it's handsome that he protects his woman." Comment, "So what's the truth about these 3? What actually happened?" Monica scrolled through the comments, reading them out loud and cursing Celine as she went. When she got really worked up, she cursed Zach too. After venting, she paused and looked at me. I smiled faintly. "It's fine. He and I have nothing to do with each other anymore." Celine's response was quick. She immediately posted a clarification. Celine's post: "Sorry for taking up public resources. That night, I was celebrating my birthday, and I got a little too excited and drank too much. Zach was worried I might run into danger going home drunk, so he brought me back to his place for the night. Unexpectedly, we ran into Amanda there. She seemed a bit unstable and insisted the house was hers. Even telling us to leave, we realized she might have been emotionally triggered. So to defuse the awkwardness, Zach asked her to make so-bring soup, really to give her a chance to step away. At the time, I remember feeling a push from Amanda's direction. I didn't expect it to be a misunderstanding. I apologize here. But what shocked us was discovering she had secretly installed cameras in the house. Chapter 13. In her hospital room. After posting, Celine's face twisted with anger. That be *TCH Amanda. She never imagined Amanda would have kept such a trump card. When she saw Zach enter, her eyes instantly reddened. "Zach, It's my fault. I was drunk that night. I didn't think it would cause such a big misunderstanding. I'll go apologize to Amanda right now. Zach had originally come to confront her, but hearing her explanation and seeing her tearful eyes snuffed out his anger. No need to apologize. You're still injured. I'll talk to her. Just focus on resting. Celine nodded sweetly. You're so kind. I just hope this doesn't affect your relationship. Zach took out his phone and called Amanda. After 4 or 5 tries, she still didn't answer. His brows furrowed. He was sure Amanda was just throwing another little tantrum. He tried calling Monica, no answer either. Just as his irritation mounted, another post shot to the top of the trending list. Amanda's post, there's still a long road ahead, see you all if fate allows. Attached, a formal retirement from industry statement. Zach's pupils contracted sharply. A sudden wave of dread hit him. Text from Zach, Amanda. What are you doing? Why would you quit the industry without discussing it with me? Don't you remember we're married? How can you make decisions on your own? Text from Zach, Amanda. Pick up the phone or I'm really going to lose my temper. Only after sending the messages did he realize he'd been blocked. An inexplicable panic began to spread through him. Celine saw the retirement post too. Her eyes widened, and then a surge of joy rose in her chest. For years in the entertainment industry, Amanda had always been above her. And now, this B*TCH was quitting. That meant Celine could take all the resources for herself. Still, she had to put on a show. Tears welled up, and she jumped out of bed barefoot. Zach, why did Amanda quit? Is it because I upset her? She looked pitiful, enough to tug at anyone's heart. Before, Zach would have scolded her for not taking care of herself. But now, all he felt was a wave of irritation, though he still spoke patiently. It probably has nothing to do with you. She's just proud. Go back to bed and rest. Celine shook her head, crying. No, it must be because of me. Take me to her. I want to apologize. Zach was about to reply when his agent suddenly called. Zach, your secret marriage has been exposed. Zach's eyes went wide, and Celine, close enough to hear, felt her stomach drop. Chapter 14. Right before boarding the plane to go abroad, I took a photo of the divorce agreement and made a post. Some netizens asked what I was having Zach sign in the video. It was a divorce agreement. Sorry for deceiving everyone on the variety show. I don't have a boyfriend outside the industry. Only an ex-husband of 5 years. The house was bought by me, but the deed was in my ex-husband's name. After posting, I turned off my phone and boarded the plane. I didn't expect that. On the plane, I'd run into a familiar face. Senior. What a coincidence. Bruno was wearing a baseball cap and waved at me. He glanced at the ticket in his hand. Senior, I'm sitting next to you. I nodded, stood up from my seat, and let him in. We didn't speak for the entire flight. After landing, Bruno asked, where are you planning to go, Senior? I tightened my grip on my bag. Just wandering around. Bruno smiled but said nothing more. Chapter 15. I had already thrown away my old SIM card. After getting off the plane, I replaced it with a new one, sent Monica a message to let her know I was safe, and didn't look at any news online. I rented a small apartment and began preparing for school. But on the first day of class, when I saw the professor standing at the lectern, I went silent. Bruno smiled at me. What a coincidence. Senior. After class, Bruno invited me to dinner. He said he had been teaching at this university for the past 5 years. I don't have many classes. If you need any help, you can always come to me. In the past, when he called me senior, I didn't think much of it. But now that he was my professor, that senior sounded all kinds of awkward. Just call me by my name. All right, Amanda. Me. Chapter 16. In the days that followed, I focused entirely on my studies. Time passed quickly, and my relationship with Bruno gradually became more familiar. It's not that I didn't understand his intentions, but in my current state, I had no time, no energy, and no desire to start a new relationship. I found an opportunity to make things clear to him. Bruno smiled. That's your choice, but liking you, that's my choice. You can't control my thoughts too. Can you? Me? Well, he had a point. I really couldn't control that. Still, Bruno never crossed any lines. and our interactions remained calm and normal. Chapter 17. The next time I saw Zach was 3 months later. I was having a meal with Bruno, discussing a project, when Zach appeared at the entrance of the restaurant. After 3 months, his face was covered in stubble, looking completely unkempt and worn down. The moment he saw me, his eyes turned bloodshot. "Amanda, I finally found you." He rushed toward me, trying to hug me, but Bruno stepped in and blocked him. Zach froze for a moment, then glared at Bruno, anger flaring in his eyes. "Move." Bruno gave a cold smile. "Sir, please mind yourself. Keep your hands to yourself. She's my wife. What does that have to do with you?" Zach's eyes widened. Bruno corrected him. "Ex-wife." The moment I saw Zach again, my brow furrowed instinctively. In the past, every time I saw him, I'd feel joy, but now, all I felt was disgust. "Amanda, I didn't know that was a divorce agreement. If I had known, I never would have signed it. It doesn't count." Bruno replied. "Right, because you were too busy tending to your injured little lover." Zach choked, glaring daggers at Bruno. "Amanda, I wasn't thinking straight at the time. We've known each other since we were kids, over 20 years of feelings. Can you really just throw that away?" He stood there, eyes red. In the past, seeing that look would have made my heart ache and soften, but now, all it did was make me feel sick. Bruno added, "Of course you weren't thinking, your whole mind was on your little lover. You had nothing left for Amanda." "Enough," Zach snapped, losing patience. "What happens between my wife and me is none of your business. You have such a huge company under you, if you've got time to meddle here. Maybe your intentions aren't so pure." Zach narrowed his eyes, sizing Bruno up. "I bet you've got ulterior motives." Bruno admitted. "Yeah, I want to pursue Amanda." "Me?" Zach completely lost it. "Shameless." His voice was so loud it drew attention from nearby tables. I slapped him hard across the face. "Zach, when you and Celine publicly announced your relationship while we were still married, did you not think you were shameless? When you slept with her, did you not think you were shameless? When you gave her resources and let her steal my role, did you not think you were shameless? When you two worked together to ruin my reputation online and drive me to the edge, did you not think you were shameless?" The color drained from Zach's face in an instant. His lips trembled. "No. Amanda, I never wanted to destroy you. You were my wife." "I didn't." You knew all along." "Yes, I knew. Celine told me herself. In my previous life, right before I died, Celine had come to gloat and told me. So that's why you." "I'm sorry. It was my fault. That day, I was drunk. I'm sorry. But it was only that one time. I didn't mean it." Bruno cut in. "You meant it. You." "Enough. Zach, whether it was intentional or not doesn't matter anymore." I looked at him. "Because you've already made me feel disgusted. Deeply, utterly disgusted. Find some time to finalize the divorce paperwork." Without waiting for a response, I left. I'd eaten enough anyway. I grabbed my things and walked out of the restaurant. Bruno followed right behind me. Chapter 18. After that day, I never saw Zach again. During that time, I tried contacting him to ask when he would go handle the divorce paperwork, but he never replied. When my patience was wearing thin, Monica called me. "Zach's in jail. He pushed Celine off a high-rise." "Me?" Monica showed me a video. In it, Zach was confronting Celine. "Didn't we agree not to tell Amanda? Why did you?" He slapped Celine across the face and grabbed her by the neck. Celine begged for mercy, swearing she hadn't broken their agreement. But Zach didn't believe her. He pushed her off the building. "Didn't you once falsely accuse Amanda of pushing you? Well, now it's real, only this time. I'm doing it for her." The building wasn't extremely high, but not low either. Celine was unlucky. She landed on a steel rebar sticking out of the concrete. It damaged her nerves, leaving her completely paralyzed. She had already ruined her reputation for what she'd done with Zach, and had to pay huge penalty fees. Now paralyzed, she couldn't even afford medical treatment. Her parents simply abandoned her. Zach was charged with attempted murder and imprisoned. When I learned about it, I was surprised, but not shocked, because after the turmoil in his family, Zach's mind had already started to twist. In the past, I refused to let go of him. I kept trying to pull him back. Monica told me, a lot of fans who used to curse you found out you'd been played by Celine and Zach. They've been camping out to throw rotten eggs at the two of them. Even now, some have gone to Celine's hospital room, cursing that she deserved it and throwing rotten cabbages at her. But since no one is caring for her and she can't move, she just has to endure it. By the time doctors and nurses found out, she smelled so bad it was unbearable. And a lot of fans are asking if you'll return to the entertainment industry. What do you think? I smiled. I'm not going back. My life right now is pretty good. Although I no longer had any family, I had made many new friends at my new school. My new life had just begun. Chapter 19, Bruno's Side Story. I first met Amanda when we started university. She was cheerful and bright, the vice president of the student union. I'd often see her feeding stray animals on the roadside. Her family wasn't well off, and she had a huge burden to take care of. Sometimes she would have nothing but a plain bun for lunch, yet she'd still break it in half to share with a stray kitten. The kitten seemed a bit picky, but still ate it. That smile of hers left a deep imprint on my mind. In our senior year, we both received the opportunity to study abroad at University A. I wasn't interested at first, but when I heard she was going, I decided to go too. When school started, I was ready for a chance hometown reunion with her, but I searched the whole campus and didn't see her. After asking around, I learned she had given up the offer. I thought maybe she was worried about tuition, so I planned to sponsor her anonymously. But it turned out, it was because of that burden she carried. The first time I met him, I didn't like him, and my instincts were right. Later, we both entered the entertainment industry. She shone brightly, while I took a position at University A. Though I never actually taught a class, she rarely appeared on variety shows. But I watched every single drama she acted in. I even went to pick her up at the airport in private. I had my company's endorsement team contact her, but she turned it down, giving it instead to that burden of hers. At that time, I really wanted to blacklist him, but I held back. Because he was someone she cared about. I didn't want to make her sad. But that shameless man didn't cherish her. He even cheated during their marriage. When I saw her being bullied on a live stream, I couldn't hold back and stepped in to defend her. She kept her distance from me, but I was still happy because I finally got her contact information again. We had added each other in university, but she no longer used that account. I didn't expect that the shameless man and that disgusting White Lotus would attack her so viciously, throwing dirt on her name again and again. I couldn't help but contact her, wanting to help, but she told me she didn't need it. Later, I thought about acting first and telling her later, but then I saw her post the divorce agreement and her retirement from the industry. At that moment, a thought flashed through my mind. Could she be? I made some inquiries, found out her flight, and bought the seat next to hers. Even though we didn't talk much on the flight, I was satisfied. As I guessed, she enrolled at University A after arriving abroad. That's when I was truly grateful for my position there. I became her professor. She was still distant, but it was much better than before. I knew she had been hurt, and she wouldn't open her heart easily, but I won't give up. After all, I've already waited so many years. Story 2. After 10 years of liking Felipe, I finally felt it was completely pointless. I stopped clinging to him, returned the gifts he gave me, and rejected all of his invitations. 1 month, 2 months passed, and I didn't appear in front of him at all, until a friend posted a picture. In the dim lighting, a pale hand rested on the lean side of a man's waist. At the spot where the fingers touched, tattooed my name. The sexual tension was undeniable. Felipe finally couldn't take it anymore and came to reconcile, only to find me in the arms of another man, being kissed so passionately that I nearly lost control. The man raised an eyebrow at him and said, "What's the matter? Do you have a fetish for watching other people make out?" Chapter 1. When Felipe noticed that my phone's wallpaper was a picture of him, he gave me a half smile and asked, "Do you like me? Are you serious?" I bit my lip, blushing, and nodded. He stood by the window in the hallway, the neon lights casting shadows on his face, making him look a little blurry. "But Alice, you're not my type," I've always thought of you as a little sister. Sister? For a moment, I thought I must have heard wrong. How could I be his sister? For as long as I can remember, Felipe has always been by my side. So close that whenever I turned around, he was there. When the pressure of the college entrance exam caused me to break out, he personally prepared a meal plan for me, tutored me, and even accompanied me to the exam. When I was robbed while abroad and shed a single tear, he flew to me on his private jet. Why are you crying? You've got your brother's shoulder to lean on. When one of his business partners made flirtatious remarks toward me, he politely ruined the man's deal and then bankrupted him. I can't even bear to say a harsh word to you. How dare he treat you like that? When I threw a tantrum with my family because I didn't want to take over the family business, he stood in front of everyone and pulled me to his side, protecting me. What are you afraid of? If she doesn't want to do anything in the future, I'll take care of her. His absolute favoritism was reserved for me alone. Isn't this love? Would a brother really treat his sister this way? Chapter 2. I refuse to give up. But I don't want to be your sister. Felipe lit a cigarette and sighed helplessly. Alice, I want us to keep things the way they are. He slowly exhaled a puff of smoke. I sniffled and coughed twice, and he quickly put out the cigarette, lowering his eyes to look at me. Lovers break up, but family ties last forever. Do you understand? I shook my head. You're still young. You can't tell the difference between love and habit or dependence. Try dating a few people. You'll figure it out. I gripped his hand tightly. Felipe, I can tell the difference. I've liked you for a long time. I don't want to be your sister. I want to be your girlfriend. Can't you give me a chance? This was my all-in gamble, risking my pride, but he remained silent. Silence was an answer too. Tears uncontrollably streamed down my face. He just looked at me, a trace of impatience flickering in his eyes. By the time I finished crying, I suddenly felt tired, and I suddenly felt ridiculous, like a child trying to win attention by crying. This version of myself was too pathetic. I slowly stopped crying. Felipe pulled his hand away. It seemed like he was trying to make sure I would completely give up on this relationship, or maybe on him altogether. The smile at the corners of his mouth gradually faded, and his entire demeanor radiated a cold indifference, as if he couldn't be bothered to deal with me. Alice. Girls who throw themselves at someone lose all their value. The words I wanted to say got stuck in my throat. This was the end of the conversation. Saying anything more would only make me feel even more embarrassed. So, I forced a smile. Got it, Felipe. I didn't cling to him. I wiped my own tears away. The air was so still that all I could hear was the pattering of rain outside. Do you want me to give you a ride? I shook my head. No need. He seemed like he wanted to say something else, but instead just nodded curtly. Take care of yourself. Okay. With that, I turned and walked away. Chapter 3. I took a cab back to school, and the rain was still falling. Using my bag to shield my head, I huddled under the school gate to avoid the rain. I was soaked. I wiped my face, unsure if it was rain or tears. Just as I was about to rush back into the downpour, an umbrella was held out in front of me. I looked up. It was one of my classmates. His name was Jacob. I accepted his kind offer, but I didn't expect that I'd still end up with a fever, half asleep in the middle of the night, burning up. I thought, maybe this is the pain of heartbreak. Maybe you need to go through a shattering illness to fully recover. On the way home that weekend, my mom called me. Sweetheart, have the driver take you to Felipe's house first. We're having dinner there today. Thinking about Felipe's face, I refused. Mom, I'm not feeling well. I don't want to go. Felipe's family is celebrating something today. Just stop by and show your face. Then you can go home, okay? I thought about it and agreed. After I hung up, my childhood friend Fiona sent me a picture. Felipe bought you a necklace. Big spender. P.S. If you already got it, forget I said anything. My friend saw him at the auction last week and sent me this. Why didn't you post about it? My heart leapt into my throat. I had loved that necklace for a long time and had mentioned it to Felipe before, but when I stepped into Felipe's house, I saw that the necklace was on someone else's neck. It was Julia. My mind went blank for a moment. It wasn't until she greeted me with a smile that I snapped out of it. Alice, you've grown up. You're looking more and more beautiful. I forced a smile, holding back my emotions. Hello, Julia. Julia was exceptional. She was the same age as Felipe, and among our group, she was one of the few who could match him in status and ability. Felipe had always admired her. At this moment, even if I were naive, I could tell that today's gathering was set up by the elders to bring the two of them together. I wasn't too upset. I was just wondering, why that necklace? Why did it have to be that necklace? I looked up, and my eyes met Felipe's. He frowned slightly, quickly averting his gaze. It seemed like he wasn't pleased with my presence. After all, we had already laid everything bare, and I shouldn't have been so clueless as to show up at his arranged date. In the past, when rumors about the two of them circulated, I had tested the waters by asking Felipe if there was any possibility. He said that he and Julia were too alike, both strong-willed, which made them good partners in business. Back then, I foolishly thought that since I had a softer personality, we complemented each other well. It was all my wishful thinking. I didn't stay until the end of the gathering. Later, I replied to Fiona, the necklace wasn't for me, and after finding out about my feelings for him, he rejected me. Chapter 4. I started packing away the gifts Felipe had given me. On the video call, Fiona chatted on. He rejected you? Oh, come on. No way. He said he sees me as a sister and doesn't want to cross that line. The box I was holding contained a gift Felipe had brought back from Pakistan. He had gone there for business, and though he could have returned earlier, he stayed an extra day just to buy something for me. In the end, he got caught in a terrorist attack. While we were on a video call, stray bullets exploded behind him, and the connection was cut off. I didn't sleep at all that night, my pillow soaked with tears, preparing to fly out and find him. But the next day, he showed up in front of me with that gift in hand. There was still a wound on his forehead, and when he saw my swollen, tear-streaked eyes, he gently rubbed my cheek. I'm not dead yet. See? I came back safe and sound. I threw myself into his arms, unable to calm down for a long time. Sister? That's ridiculous. Does Felipe really believe that? We grew up together too, and look how differently he treats you compared to us. Back then, I also thought it was his favoritism toward me, a little romantic secret between us. But now, I don't think that anymore. To Felipe, I was a sister, a relative, a part of his family, but never his lover. Feeling a bit suffocated, I walked out onto the balcony. That's when I saw Felipe in his garden, standing under the large tree on the ground floor. Felipe and Julia were standing very close together. It almost looked like they were kissing. Out of the corner of his eye, Felipe seemed to glance in my direction, like a voyeur who had been caught. I quickly stepped back into the room. Suddenly, I found everything pointless. As I pulled the curtains closed, a bitter thought crossed my mind. Was Felipe doing this on purpose? Trying to make sure I completely gave up on him? But what he didn't know was that my heart had already died on that rainy day. Chapter 5. I didn't pay any more attention to them after that. I was only thinking of finding a chance to return all the gifts Felipe had given me. Fiona's birthday was celebrated at one of our usual places. When I arrived, our friend Dominic had just walked in from outside. I saw Felipe next door having dinner. I invited him over, but he said he'd cover the bill and wouldn't join us. Guess who he's having dinner with? He had a gossiping expression, and Fiona, trying to spare my feelings, was just about to cover his mouth. But it was too late, he had already said it. With Julia! Can you believe it? The two most successful people in our group finally got together. Wait, but what about Alice? Can you stop talking for once? Is it really that hard? Fiona threw a cushion at him. Dominic looked confused. Fiona, what's up with you? Did you eat a bomb or something? I'm just saying, Alice. Why are you so worked up? Fiona rolled her eyes at him and turned to comfort me. Alice, don't be upset. Men come and go. Out with the old, in with the new. I smiled. It's your birthday. Don't worry about me. My birthday wish is for my best friend to be happy. Forget about Felipe. Does he even realize how rare it is to love someone for so many years? What a fool! Listen, here's my advice. Go book a male model. Make him dote on you. Revolve his whole world around you. Trust me, you'll be so into it, you won't even think about Felipe anymore. And then, let Felipe regret it. Even if he were a god, you wouldn't give him a second glance. A male model? Regret? Fiona, what kind of wild ideas are you coming up with now? Dominic chimed in. As they argued, I stepped out for some fresh air. Looking down, I saw a familiar figure being surrounded in the alley below. His arms were covered in cuts, and his clothes were torn. When he lifted his face, I realized it was Jacob. Chapter 6. We had been classmates for 3 years, and I never imagined Jacob's family was struggling so much. I saved him. Then, I gave him some money to help pay off his debts. The rest, use it to cover your grandma's medical bills. It was my way of repaying the favor for that umbrella on that rainy day. He stood there, stunned, his eyes slowly turning red. The young man clenched his fists tightly, veins bulging. His pale skin, illuminated by the streetlight, seemed fragile, almost shattered. He said he would pay me back as soon as possible, or if I ever needed anything, I could always come to him. Sometimes, fate works in strange ways between people. Or maybe, when you look back on a decision, you realize you don't even know what made you make it at the time. And that's how Jacob, somewhat unintentionally, became my first boyfriend. In my mind, he had always been cool and aloof. I'd heard from my roommates that his name often appeared on the confession wall, but he was never focused on that. Instead, he had started working on a business venture with some seniors early on. He had won numerous awards in entrepreneurship competitions and was top of the class in his major, always with his own goals. Very distant from me. Back then, my life consisted of nothing more than completing my studies and staying close to Felipe. So now, with the roles reversed, I was curious, what would it be like in a relationship where someone is endlessly attentive and only has eyes for you? Would it make me feel cheap? By senior year, there were fewer courses, and Jacob fulfilled his role perfectly. When we were together, he was always the one to take the lead. Despite being busy with his career, he still prioritized me, even though our relationship had initially been built on money. 1 month, 2 months passed, and with hormones running high, we started holding hands, hugging, and acting like a normal couple. I didn't try to reach out to Felipe anymore. Fiona told me that she and Dominic once ran into him while out. He asked about me. Fiona accidentally let it slip that I was dating someone. Felipe's face turned dark, and after giving us a cold laugh, he didn't even say goodbye and just left. What do you think that means? I didn't know, but that night, I did receive a message from him. So, you've finally made something of yourself. It seemed vague and out of context, so I didn't reply. By then, quite some time had passed. When he called, Jacob and I had just left the library. Are you on campus? In the sunlight, Jacob held up an umbrella for me, quietly turning his head away. He was giving me space. I hummed in acknowledgement, even though Felipe and I weren't lovers. The relationship between our families made it impossible for us to become enemies. Besides, he hadn't really done anything wrong to me. He just didn't like me. That's all. I'm at the university for a forum and happened to pick up your favorite little cakes, he said in the same tone as always, as if my confession had been just a trivial moment in the past. I wasn't paying attention and tripped over a small stone on the path. Jacob quickly caught me, softly reminding me, careful. Coming back to my senses, I declined Felipe's offer. No need, Felipe. I'm on a diet and cutting out sugar. There was a moment of silence before he spoke again, his voice carrying a faint, almost imperceptible tremor. How about we grab a meal instead? I've already made lunch plans with my boyfriend. For a long moment, there was no sound from his end. Then I heard his increasingly heavy breathing, laced with disbelief. Boy, friend? Felipe, Fiona wasn't lying to you. I really do have a boyfriend. Chapter 7. As I turned the corner, I saw Felipe standing in front of my dorm. His refined presence drew the attention of every girl who passed by. He saw me too, He walked toward me with long strides. I hung up the phone, pursed my lips, and greeted him. Felipe, Alice, aren't you going to introduce us? Was it just my imagination, or was there a hint of gritted teeth in his voice? Before I could answer, Jacob interlaced his fingers with mine, holding my hand in a firm grip, as if trying to make me a part of him. With his usual politeness and a gentle tone, Jacob spoke. Hello, I'm Jacob. Felipe's expression remained cold as he looked at Jacob, though the bag of desserts in his hand was now crushed out of shape. He shifted his gaze to me, raising an eyebrow. Why don't you tell him who I am? For a moment, I was completely baffled. What did that mean? Feeling uncomfortable under his intense gaze, I reluctantly turned to Jacob. This is my neighbor, Felipe. As soon as I said the words, the bag slipped from Felipe's hand, and the dessert scattered across the ground. I heard Felipe's strained voice. Neighbor? Something I said must have hurt him. That day, Felipe gave me a look I'd never seen before, an unfamiliar and pained expression, before walking away, looking utterly lost. Chapter 8. The northern weather turned cold quickly, and this year, the snow came early. Fiona invited me to go skiing, and I brought Jacob along. On the bus ride up the mountain, Jacob handed me a warm pack. When we got off the bus, he discreetly wrapped a scarf around my neck, bundling me up snugly. Snowflakes fell on his hair, on his eyelashes, covering him with a light dusting of white. I smiled. Jacob, your eyelashes are so long. Has anyone ever told you that? He smiled faintly, shaking his head. No. Well, now someone has. Do you think we could balance a matchstick on them? After putting a hat on me, he lowered his lashes. You can try later. For now, give me your hands so I can help you with your gloves. I obediently stretched out my hands. Jacob was that kind of person, attentive, thoughtful, and gentle. Most importantly, he was emotionally stable. Being with him made me feel safe. This was the first time I'd introduced him to my friends. Fiona was the most excited, pulling me aside to whisper, Alice, your boyfriend is way too handsome. I told you, the best way to get over one relationship is to start a new one. Oh, by the way, Felipe is here too, but it looks like he's busy with business. I nodded. After all, we were part of the same social circle, so it was impossible to completely avoid seeing him. If I tried too hard, it would just make it seem like I still cared. Jacob brought over a thermos cup. You were coughing earlier. Drink something warm to soothe your throat. I smiled at him. You and Fiona should go get your gear. I'll watch you ski. To be honest, I'm pretty terrible at sports, and after all these years, I still hadn't learned how to ski. I'll take you skiing. His gaze was intense, and he didn't seem to be joking. You're good at it? Very good, he said, without the slightest hint of modesty. Feeling tempted, I got changed into my ski gear along with him. Fiona and Dominic were already having a blast on the slopes. They looked so cool, racing down in the sunset glow. Maybe Jacob noticed the envy in my eyes, because after helping me put on my goggles, he tucked my hair into my hat. I'll hold you while we ski. Huh? Jacob had already adjusted his gear and held out his hand to me. Dressed in black ski clothes, his 6 feet 2 inches frame looked even taller. Before I realized it, I was clinging to him, holding on tightly around his neck. Jacob, I'm heavy. You're not. You should eat more. Jacob, are you sure about this? Trust me. He lifted me by my legs, and we were so close that the only sound I could hear was our mingling breaths. Dominic and Fiona whistled at us. For some reason, my face started to heat up. Are you ready? Jacob's low, gentle voice sounded in my ear. Yes. Then let's go. The moment we began to slide, I couldn't help but scream. Jacob! I'm here. Aw. Jacob! Alice. Look at the sunset. It's beautiful. I never knew Jacob was such a skilled skier. Later, he took me skiing in all sorts of ways, letting me experience it to the fullest. When I finally stopped to catch my breath, I suddenly felt someone's gaze on me. I glanced to the side and saw Felipe. Chapter 9. I didn't know when Felipe had arrived, but he was already dressed in ski gear. I remembered the past. It was always Felipe who taught me how to ski. He was patient, holding my hand and teaching me over and over. But I still couldn't get the hang of it. Every time our friends laughed at me, Felipe would scoff at them. Go play somewhere else. Don't distract my Alice from learning. In truth, Felipe was right, reliance and habit do fade with time. Now, I don't need him anymore. The others started cheering for Felipe and Jacob to race. After all, they were the best skiers there. I grabbed Jacob's hand and shook my head. Felipe made a clicking sound in annoyance. What's the matter? Afraid I'll beat him? Don't worry. Jacob squeezed my hand. All right, be careful. Felipe's expression immediately darkened. His gaze fixed on our joined hands, growing more intense, as if he could burn a hole through me. They took the ski lift up, and Fiona came over to me. I don't get it. Why would Felipe agree to this race? Is he jealous? I shook my head. I don't know. Wasn't he the one who told me to date a few people and see what it's like? Besides, would a brother get jealous over his sister? When the race started, the crowd erupted in cheers. I found myself silently rooting for Jacob. After all, Felipe was an expert skier. At first, everything seemed fine, but halfway through, Felipe and Jacob got closer and closer. As they neared the finish line, Felipe was slightly behind. Then, his ski accidentally, perhaps not so accidentally, hit Jacob's. Jacob fell. Felipe crossed the finish line first. Only those who have skied know how painful it is to fall at such high speed. Alice, look. Felipe skied over to me, as if he was about to say something smug, like the person I'd chosen was weak. Not worth my time. But I just looked at him coldly. Was that fun? Felipe, was it worth it? Ignoring the shock in his eyes, I rushed over to Jacob. Are you okay? It doesn't hurt. I'm fine. How could he be fine? He couldn't even stand up. I'm really okay. Jacob remained gentle, but I could see his hands and legs trembling. Normally, I have a good temper and a soft personality, but now it felt like there was a fire burning in my chest. I ran back over to Felipe, apologized to him. Him? Felipe looked like he had just heard the most ridiculous thing. Alice, do you even know what you're saying? I do. Felipe, you knocked him down. I saw it. So what? You're going to take the side of someone you barely know over me? I stared at him in silence. Felipe's brow furrowed deeply as he looked at me in disbelief. Alice, do you? I cut him off. I like him. Is that so hard to believe? And by the way, he's not someone I just met. I've known him for a long time. I spoke each word clearly. His name is Jacob, and he's my boyfriend now. For a moment, everything went silent. So silent that even our friends held their breath. Everyone knew that for years. My eyes had only been on Felipe. I was his little shadow. Everyone assumed that eventually, at the right time, we'd end up together. I thought so too. But everyone missed one important detail. If someone truly likes you, why would they make you wait? The tension hung in the air. Fiona nudged Dominic, trying to get him to pull Felipe away. But Felipe, his eyes reddening with anger, lashed out. He kicked over his snowboard, sending snow flying into the air. Then he shouted at me, "Fine. All these years, I've wasted my time caring about you." With that, he stormed off, disappearing into the wind and snow. I went back and slowly helped Jacob to his feet. Chapter 10. The private ski resort had its own medical team. After an examination, they found that Jacob had a few soft tissue injuries, and his knee and ankle were slightly dislocated. Throughout it all, Jacob remained calm and gentle, reassuring me not to worry. Even when the doctors were resetting his dislocated bones, Jacob didn't make a sound. I felt a sting in my nose, and after the doctors left, I sat beside him. I'm sorry. I didn't know something like this would happen. I also didn't know that Felipe would do something like that. In the soft, warm light, Jacob's gaze was especially gentle. He held my hand and gave it a reassuring pat. It's okay, Alice. Thank you for bringing me to meet your friends. I'm really happy. Jacob was always like this, always gentle. When I left his room, I ran into Felipe leaning against the wall in the hallway. We just stood there, silently looking at each other. In the end, he sighed and walked toward me. He reached out, like he used to pat my head. But I moved away. What? Are you afraid of me now? He frowned. You're being this guarded with me now? Felipe, I have a boyfriend. So, it's not appropriate for us to have this kind of close contact anymore, contact that might be misunderstood. I didn't want to fall into the trap of assuming he liked me just because of a small gesture. That chapter had ended. Even if we were like brother and sister, there needed to be some boundaries. Felipe clenched his jaw, the corners of his lips twitching. You ungrateful little thing. How long have you been with him that you're already defending him like this? Do you like him that much? I just think I should respect this relationship. And showing respect means pushing me away? Felipe. I called his name. In the past, when Fiona and the others called him Felipe, I would always softly call him by his first name. But after the last time, I started calling him Felipe. I think my actions made my feelings clear. You were the one who said that girls who make the first move lose their value. Did you forget? He let out a frustrated laugh. You're still holding a grudge? It's not a grudge. I stepped past him. I just don't like you anymore. Chapter 11. After that day, I didn't see Felipe for a long time. I would occasionally hear people say that the project he and Julia were working on was a huge success. They said the two of them were a powerful team and that something good was bound to happen between them soon. I didn't care much and spent most of my time in the dorm working on my thesis. The rest of my time was spent with Jacob. He introduced me to his friends and told me about the project he and his senior colleagues were working on. Sometimes, when they were busy, I'd quietly sit in their office, working on my own stuff. He would occasionally bring me a blanket to keep warm or prepare some snacks for me. During meetings, if I so much as coughed, he'd discreetly hand me honey water, then continue with the meeting. It seemed like he never refused any request I made. I became immersed in his warmth, and gradually, I understood what Fiona meant when you're surrounded by love. You don't think about anything else. The day before New Year's, Jacob gave me a gift. It was a necklace, though it couldn't compare to the one I had before. I knew it was the best he could afford at the moment. He also handed me a bank card. What's this? There's 500,000 in it. I'm repaying part of the money I owe you. I was shocked. Jacob, where did you get so much money? Meeting my gaze, he slipped the card into my bag. The game we released blew up after we advertised it on social media. This is part of the profit. I knew about the project they were working on, but I hadn't expected such a small game to bring in so much money. There's no rush, I said. To me, that money was just the cost of a bag. I wanted him to keep investing in his business. As if he knew what I was thinking, he smiled. I've kept enough for myself. Don't worry about me. My grandma is being well taken care of too. I accepted his repayment. But suddenly, I had a thought. Since our relationship started because of money, would it end once he finished paying me back? Chapter 12. Come on, girl. Don't tell me you've really fallen for Jacob. I thought about it. Fiona shook my shoulders. Really? I thought again. Liking someone didn't seem like such a difficult thing, so I nodded. Images of Jacob filled my mind. He was a calm, gentle person, always patient with me. Aside from his startup friends, there were no other girls around him, and he always made sure to keep a respectful distance from others. I had heard my roommates describe him as a high mountain flower. I used to think he must be cold and difficult to approach, but once I got to know him, I realized he had a warmer side too. In the empty corridors or the garden with the swaying tree shadows, Jacob would often hold me so tightly that it felt like I could barely breathe. But we had never kissed. What did you say? You two have been dating for almost 6 months and still haven't kissed? Is he, like, not capable? That's not it, I guess. It just seemed like he respected me. Fiona quickly returned to a serious expression. Okay, enough of that, Alice. You have to understand the gap between your families. Not to mention the fact that your relationship started off, well, kind of complicated. Look at the stories in the news, men from modest backgrounds marrying rich girls, and then walking away with half their fortune. It's fun for now, but before graduation, I think you should break up. Don't get too deep into this. If you really like this type, you can always find someone else to take care of later. I wanted to say something to argue, but then I realized that, at some point, Felipe had appeared behind us, and maybe it was my imagination, but I thought I saw the corner of his lips curl into a smirk. What was he smiling about? Chapter 13. As soon as I got home for New Year's, my mom dragged me next door. In the past, both families always spent holidays together. Your Felipe is sick, running a fever. Go upstairs and bring him some water while I help your aunt. I was pushed toward the staircase, holding a glass of water, but I had just seen him last night, and he seemed perfectly fine. How could he be sick all of a sudden? When I knocked and entered his room, Felipe was lying in bed with a fever patch on his forehead, looking pale. It seemed like he really was sick. I walked over and called his name, Felipe. He raised his hand, and I quickly passed him the water. Are you feeling any better? His fingers brushed mine, and his temperature was indeed high. Startled, I quickly let go of the cup, lowering my eyes. I noticed he seemed a bit unhappy. Still, he pointed to the table. I got you a gift. You really don't have to, Alice. His tone grew more serious. Suddenly, he started coughing. I reached out to pat his back. He grabbed my hand. Since when do you refuse a gift from your brother? I sighed internally. Felipe used to give me gifts on every occasion, big or small, but what? Now that you have a boyfriend, you're ditching your brother too? He kept emphasizing the word brother. It made me wonder if I was overthinking things again. Okay. Thanks, Felipe. How have you been lately? He asked. Just as my phone rang, it was Jacob calling. I turned to take the call. Jacob asked if I had time in the afternoon. The stray cat we had rescued had finally found a home, since our family lunch would only be at noon. I said I had time. Jacob said he'd take me out to dinner that evening, and I agreed. After hanging up, I noticed Felipe's face had darkened slightly, but soon, he regained his earlier composure and smiled. So, not joining them for the flower arrangement this afternoon? I pressed my lips together and nodded. Chapter 14. At the dinner table, my mom brought up the topic of Felipe and Julia. She asked if the two of them were dating. Felipe was quick to deny it. No, we're just working on a project together. My mom smiled. Julia is a great girl. You should hurry, or some other guy might swoop in. Right after she said that, Felipe's eyes landed on me. I wasn't sure what he was thinking. Felipe's mom laughed too. You shouldn't just worry about Felipe. You should also think about Alice. She's already 22. I quickly put my chopsticks down, waving my hands. I've got it under control. Look at how scared the kid is. I was just about to say that Dominic. He has good looks and character. No, not Dominic. That boy's a bit too single-minded. Kind of clueless, my mom said with a grin. At that very moment, Dominic, relaxing at the Hot Springs Hotel with Fiona, sneezed. After dinner, I excused myself to leave, but Felipe decided to come back with my dad, saying he needed to trim the garden's grass. I went upstairs to pack my things. As I passed the room where I kept gifts, I paused for a moment. Then I placed the gift Felipe had just given me inside, without opening it. When I headed downstairs, I heard my dad shout. I rushed over. Alice, call the ambulance. Your brother Felipe hurt his foot. Chapter 15. At the hospital, Felipe looked at me apologetically. It's been too long since I last used that machine. Busy, huh? I glanced at his bandaged foot, not knowing what to say. I checked my phone instead. Jacob had sent a message saying I should handle things and not worry. He also asked if I needed him to come to the hospital to help. Is there something important? If you have other things to take care of, go ahead. I can manage, Felipe said, ever the considerate one. I looked at his injury. Honestly, he didn't really need me, did he? When you leave, could you help me get a bottle of water? He smiled. I might have trouble moving around later. There's still some work I didn't finish, and I forgot my laptop. Alice, could you bring it for me? My mom called, reminding me to take good care of Felipe since he got hurt helping my dad. But something just didn't feel right. Why was everything so convenient? Felipe, did you do this on purpose? Did you purposely make sure I wouldn't leave your sight today? Felipe froze. He hadn't expected me to bluntly and directly call him out like that. But, as calm as ever, he curled his lips into a smile. Is that really what you think of me? It's hard not to think that way. And what exactly would I gain from doing that? I was left speechless, as if trapped in the same old knot. I treat you like a sister. I don't like you that way. So what would be my reason for doing this? My mind was a bit muddled, and I forced a smile. I'll call a servant to bring you your laptop, and hire a caregiver, so it'll be easier for you to manage trips to the bathroom. Felipe, I've got plans with my boyfriend. I'm leaving now. As soon as I closed the door, I thought I heard something shatter behind me. Chapter 16. The days passed by, one after another. Felipe and I both tacitly agreed not to mention what happened that day. Jacob mentioned that they would likely spend the new year at the office. They had a new project they were rushing to launch before the holiday. At the same time, they were still working on a game they'd started a year ago. It was an autumn game, and Jacob was the lead planner. I laughed. Jacob, no wonder you're so good to your girlfriend. It's because you've studied what girls want, right? He laughed too. Well, does my girlfriend have any interest in helping us spot areas for improvement? You know, for some of the character settings, we're working off pure imagination and research. So during that time, I became a hired consultant, helping them refine the plotlines. I soon realized that this project had a lot of potential. So, in a bold move, I said I wanted to invest in them. Jacob disagreed. It was the first time he had ever refused me. Why? If I invested in them, they would have the funds to speed up the development. Alice, I'm already so grateful to you. When I was at my lowest, you helped me. You saved me from being crushed by life, allowed me to keep my family, to keep studying, and to keep pursuing my startup. I've climbed out of that difficult time, and my life is steadily improving. I have you now, and I treasure our days together. I don't want you to give any more for my sake. You took the first step. Now let me walk the rest of the way towards you, step by step, okay? It was the first time I had ever heard him say so much about us. My heart felt warm, but I was still stubborn. Jacob, I'm betting that you'll prove me right. I'm betting my investment will pay off. And so, I signed the investment agreement and took a 10% share in their company. Chapter 17. On the day school let out for winter break, Fiona suggested we all go get tattoos. I refused. I'm scared of the pain. I don't want one. She turned her gaze to Dominic. Dominic glanced over at Jacob. In the end, neither Fiona nor I got a tattoo, but Dominic and Jacob ended up lying on the tattoo beds. Dominic let out squeals like a pig. Fiona breathed a sigh of relief. Good thing I listened to you and didn't get one. Otherwise, it would have been me in pain. Dominic, so? When the tattoo artist came out, I finally saw what Jacob had gotten. He had tattooed my name on his side. The skin around the tattoo was still slightly red. Without thinking, I reached out to touch it. The moment my fingertips brushed against his lean waist, Fiona, quick as lightning, snapped a picture. TSK TSK TSK. Full of sexual tension, I quickly tried to pull my hand back, but Jacob caught my fingers, giving me a slightly possessive look. A tingling sensation shot through my entire body. On the other side, Dominic shouted, Fiona, you traitor! Why aren't you paying attention to me? I'm dying from the pain. Fiona posted the picture on her social media. A lot of friends commented below it. I received a private message from Felipe. It was just a question mark. I didn't reply, because Fiona and I were already on a plane for our trip. Chapter 18. A week later, I returned and dove headfirst back into game development. After all, I'd invested in it. By the time I went back home again, it was already New Year's Eve. I quickly finished dinner and escaped back to my room under Felipe's murderous gaze. I started working on my study abroad applications on my computer. Yes, that had always been the plan. In the past, I didn't want to take over the family business because I was too young and immature. But after spending time with Jacob and seeing how he and his team worked passionately toward their goals, I felt inspired. I wanted to become an accomplished adult too. Maybe noticing that I wasn't planning to come back downstairs, My mom called me, but it was Felipe's voice I heard on the other end. Are you avoiding me? I hesitated. Since our last unpleasant conversation, we hadn't spoken for a while. I stared at my computer and slowly replied, no, on my tablet. Jacob's message popped up. I'm at my senior's place. I'll be done by 8 p.m. Do you have any plans later? I turned on speaker mode so I could free my hands to reply, no plans. I'll come pick you up later. Then, maybe Felipe had heard the notification sound, as his tone turned colder. Texting your boyfriend again? I gave a nonchalant hum in response. Felipe, you guys have fun. I won't be joining. Happy New Year. You don't want this year's gift either? I paused. For as long as I could remember, every New Year's Eve after dinner, I would spend the night with Felipe and his friends. We would set off fireworks and stay up late, exchanging New Year's gifts. And every year, I would leave a little piece of my youthful affection in the gifts I gave him. But now, it didn't seem necessary. It felt too ambiguous, and I didn't like ambiguity. So, I gripped the phone tightly and slowly said, thank you, Felipe. But I'm 22 now. Not a kid anymore. I don't need the gift. I could hear his friends' voices in the background. What's wrong? Little Alice isn't coming? You don't get it. She's spending time with her boyfriend. Didn't you see Fiona's post? Oh, almost 30 and I still don't understand these young people. I heard something drop to the floor. Felipe, the gift you were going to give Alice just fell. I couldn't see Felipe's expression, but I could sense the atmosphere was heavy. So, I said, I'm going to hang up now. Have fun. After hanging up, I replied to Jacob's message, what's the plan? He responded almost immediately, taking you to the outskirts to set off fireworks. Can you come out? I can. I rushed to my room to change. And, of course, I prepared the New Year's gift I had for Jacob. He's always been the one giving. Today, I wanted to let him know he was getting something too. Chapter 19. Brilliant and magnificent fireworks lit up the sky. It felt like a spectacular confession. Such a beautiful scene, perfect for a kiss. Jacob pulled me closer by the waist. His gentle, tender kisses slowly spread downward. Two clumsy people, kissing for the first time, our teeth occasionally bumping into each other. Jacob started off soft, but soon it felt like he was about to lose control. He held the back of my head, his other hand gripping my waist, pressing me tightly against his chest. Our heartbeats synced, almost thumping out of our chests. His kisses became domineering, intense, making me almost lose my balance. I had to cling to his neck for support. I could feel the surge of hormones sweeping through us. Then, suddenly, a sharp ringtone broke the moment. Jacob and I stopped and turned. Standing in the shadows was Felipe, his expression dark and unreadable. Jacob placed a protective hand on my head, pulling me into his embrace, usually so gentle and calm. This was the first time I'd ever seen Jacob angry. He raised an eyebrow at Felipe. What's the matter? Do you have a habit of spying on people? For some reason, Felipe looked like a ticking time bomb, ready to explode. His breathing was heavy, as if trying to calm down on the brink of losing control. He reached out his hand toward me. Alice, come here. I didn't move. His jaw clenched, and there was a brewing storm in his eyes. Are you going to come over yourself? Or do I need to carry you? Or maybe you'd prefer your parents finding out what you're up to right now? I stared at him silently. Felipe, are you threatening me? Kissing my boyfriend, isn't that normal? He slowly closed his eyes. When he opened them again, he stormed toward us. And then, without warning, he punched Jacob in the face. Chapter 20. They had a fight. My parents found out about my relationship and put me under house arrest. I protested, but it was useless. You don't even know him. Why are you dismissing him? He's an amazing person, my dad said. Alice, don't try to make a mistake. The gap between you two is too wide. It won't work. My mom added, this is your first relationship, and I understand how you feel. But Alice, you're my only daughter. I just want to see you with someone we know well. Felipe said, you two come from different worlds. I sneered. Felipe, are you happy now? Is this the result you were hoping for? I'm doing this for your sake. I don't need it. I'm an adult now. I can make my own decisions. He remained extremely patient, though a hint of obsession flickered in his eyes. Don't you understand? If it weren't for the money between you two, he wouldn't be with you. You wouldn't have crossed paths. At that moment, I was certain the last incident had been deliberate on his part. So, what? Felipe reached out to touch my face. So, break up with him, and then we can be together. Weren't you the one who used to cling to me all the time? I slapped his hand away. Did you forget how you rejected me? You said I wasn't your type. Yes, he replied without hesitation. I regret it. I don't want to see you with someone else. I love you. I threw all the gifts he'd ever given me into their garden. Then I laughed. You know, Felipe, I don't quite understand. If you really loved me, how could you have rejected me? You only feel regret because the girl who used to follow you around has disappeared. And it makes you uncomfortable because I was the one who confessed. And you were the one who rejected me. You think the person who should be cool and indifferent should be you. You think I should be heartbroken, clinging to you, not moving on to a new relationship 6 months later. He shook his head in confusion. No, that's not it, Felipe. You were the one who said, girls shouldn't be too forward. It makes them look cheap. So now, you'll just have to watch me fall in love with someone else. Chapter 21. When Julia came to see me, I was quite surprised. I've only met Felipe a few times. We're not actually together. If there had been any feelings between us, we would have gotten together long ago. It felt like she was saying this to me but also to herself. Julia sighed. Felipe likes you. These days, it seemed like everyone was telling me the same thing. And so what? What does that have to do with me? I didn't want to entertain the conversation. He rejected me himself. Said I was like a sister. And now he's saying he likes me? Doesn't he find himself ridiculous? Julia agreed. That's why I said he deserves to lose you. Anyone could see how different he is with you, but he couldn't see it himself. I pursed my lips and said nothing. I remembered that night in the rain. The way Felipe looked at me with such unfamiliar impatience. If someone likes you, would they look at you like that? He used to think that being family was better than being lovers. Because once you fall in love, you face arguments, adjustments, even the risk of breaking up. He didn't want to lose you. He didn't want to ruin that relationship. So he kept things the same. But what he forgot is that even family members eventually grow apart and start their own lives. And once that bond is broken, there's no going back to the way it was. So when he saw you with someone else, he couldn't sit still anymore. He regretted it. Julia was analyzing his feelings. But I didn't care anymore. I'm not here to speak on Felipe's behalf, she added. She just wanted me to see things clearly, to be certain of my choice. Sometimes, when someone misses their chance, it's just gone. But what you have now, that's what's most precious, isn't it? In life, if you don't take a chance, that's what you'll regret. Alice, don't be like me. As she left, she handed me a letter. It was from Jacob. Chapter 22. My parents wouldn't let Fiona or Dominic visit me, so they had to send the letter through Julia. Inside was a bank card. Just like before, Jacob had paid me back double the amount. Alice, I've been very happy during the time we've been together, but I also understand the gap between us, my family, my career, in the eyes of the world. None of it matches you. At first, I thought maybe you were just playing with me or using me as a way to make someone else jealous. And I accepted that because I couldn't refuse you. I've liked you for many years. You're such an amazing, adorable girl. Who wouldn't like you? Alice, thank you for giving me this opportunity, not only for saving me from a tough situation but also for fulfilling my wish to be with you. Alice, I love you, and I want you to be happy. Please don't fight for me, okay? If one day I'm worthy of you, I'll come back for you. If you choose someone else, I'll still wish you the best, because you deserve the best. Chapter 23. I was sent abroad earlier than planned, as everyone had hoped. I didn't contact Jacob again, so I regained my freedom. Felipe would fly out to see me every week, traveling across great distances just to be with me. Like countless times before, he cooked for me, watched TV with me, and prepared everything I needed. But inside, I no longer felt anything. I silently accepted it all, because fighting back wouldn't bring me any benefits. Day after day, I threw myself into studying as if my life depended on it. I thought, if I became strong enough one day, then I would have the right to choose. So I began to engage with the family business. I put away all my distractions and worked hard to become better. My parents were pleased, saying I had finally matured. Felipe was happy too, saying we had plenty of time ahead of us. Everyone seemed to be happy, so why wasn't I? I would only think of Jacob when I was exhausted from studying. He used to help me highlight key points, hand me a glass of water when I coughed, and let me sleep in his arms when I was tired. Whenever I looked at him, the love in his eyes was always there for me, unconditionally. I sniffed. I took out my phone, staring at Fiona's social media feed. Would he remove my name from his skin? Now that he had repaid all the money, would he forget me? Chapter 24. By the second year, I had fully grasped the intricacies of the family business. I had also taken over the operations of the company's overseas branch, achieving excellent results. Julia, along with Fiona and Dominic, came to celebrate with me. Congratulations on the birth of our new boss lady. I grinned widely. Congratulations to me for becoming the next Julia. That night, we talked and talked, covering so many topics. When we got drunk, Fiona said, Jacob's team launched several small game apps, and they all went viral. Their small company now has hundreds of employees. The female-oriented game they launched last week topped the charts. He's amazing. The air suddenly became still. Jacob. It had been so long since I'd heard his name. Hearing it made my heart race. I turned my head slightly, and Dominic quickly covered Fiona's mouth. Come on, Alice. Let me toast to you. That night, when everything was coming to an end, Felipe arrived, sitting on the bench outside the apartment building. I told him, Felipe, I don't like you anymore. No matter how many years you've been in my life, I still don't like you anymore. Felipe froze. You still haven't forgiven me, have you? I've forgiven you, but I don't like you anymore. I once thought I'd like you for a lifetime. But look, people change. Is it because you haven't forgotten him? We've grown up together with over 20 years of feelings. Doesn't that compare to the 6 months you spent with him? His eyes reddened as he questioned me. Timing in life is so important, whether too early or too late. It affects choices and outcomes. I shook my head. Felipe, you can't compare the two, and it's not even comparable. Julia once said, sometimes when something is missed, it's missed for good. Let's part on good terms. You can still be my brother, but I don't want to be your brother. A tear quietly fell down his cheek. It was like returning to the beginning of the story. Only the roles had been reversed. Felipe, I have someone else in my heart. There's no place for anyone else. Go home. Please don't come looking for me anymore. I stood up and went upstairs without looking back. Chapter 25. In the third year, I completed my studies here, and the business of the overseas branch was thriving. I had also become the topic of praise among parents in our circle. For 3 years, I didn't go back. When Fiona came to help me pack my things, she asked, Are you still thinking about Jacob? I didn't answer. Have you seen him? I shook my head. When I left, my phone was taken away, and I got a new phone and a new number, with my parents and Felipe keeping an eye on me. I had no way of contacting him. The only news I had about him came from the media or from Fiona. Fiona pulled out her phone, opened her gallery, and handed it to me. Every month, he comes here. Even I didn't know. I was completely shocked. Why was I only finding out now? It was because of a post on a popular social platform from another international student. They mentioned frequently seeing a handsome man outside our school, as if he were looking for someone, or maybe just there to take a look. Many people commented, sharing photos, saying they had seen him too at various times over the years. He was always alone. When all the details were pieced together, they said he had been coming for 3 years, never failing, but had never found the person he was waiting for. I covered my face, and the tears started to flow. Chapter 26. As soon as I got off the plane, a notification popped up on my phone. It showed that a large sum of money had been deposited into my bank account. When I saw the company name that made the payment, I realized it. It was from Jacob's company, the one I had invested in years ago. I heard the game they released grossed over $100 million in just 1 week after launch. It became incredibly popular. His achievements over these past few years have made him a rising star, a hotshot young elite. He's always been capable, and I knew it. He didn't let me down. So, is this my share of the profit? At the same time, an unknown number appeared on my screen. For some reason, I had a strong feeling. It was him. My heart raced, and I answered the call. On the other end was Jacob's warm voice, Alice. I've come to find you. If one day I'm worthy of you, I'll come back for you. Do you remember the bet we made 3 years ago? Jacob, I bet on you making me win. Bet that my investment would pay off. His voice was clear and deep, pleasing to the ear. And over the past 3 years, all the letters I never sent, would you like to see them? All of them were addressed to you. Turn around. End.